But we have another small, exciting announcement. This isn't the big, exciting announcement. This is a small one. But the small one is that Schoolhouse Rocked, the Homeschool Revolution, the movie is coming out on big streaming in the first quarter of 2023. So big streaming, I mean like Amazon Prime, Netflix. Is it Netflix? Will it be on Netflix?
I
don't know.
Think so. I mean, all of this is up to the distributor.
Right. We're not in charge of any of this, just so all y'all know.
But yeah, all the platforms.
I just said
basically.
y'all. Did you get that?
That was good.
I said all y'all.
Welcome to Oklahoma.
Sound like a real Southerner, huh?
It only took you
Bless
4
your
years
heart.
in Georgia and 2 years in Oklahoma. You're almost Southern now.
I know.
Good job.
I know.
Yeah. So we work with a great distributor, Collide Distribution, and they are doing a deal right now to put the movie on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So it'll be available as kind of a normal rental there for a period. And then it's going to go into, here's the mechanics of distribution. Eventually it goes into that, like just free to download on Prime or free to view on Prime cycle. But that takes a little time. But first quarter of 2023.
Let's continue really quickly with a recap, and then we'll talk about what we've got coming in the new year. We talked about the movie came out on DVD. We did the whole release of the movie and did subtitles in Spanish and in German in May. And Abby and I did a whole podcast episode on this. So you guys we'll link that in the show notes. In May and June, we took this big, long road trip and we traveled. We took the movie on the road, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We got to go, up through Illinois, Kentucky, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Indiana.
The funny thing about this trip was it was such a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And guys, people with kind of an artful bent, they have really weird egos. And you always want to see what you've done be appreciated. And I will say at every location that we showed the movie, it was appreciated. We had some people walk out angry, which was also fun. Because
I think only one person.
Oh no, it's a couple.
Was it?
Yeah. And there was actually a little bit of pleasure I took in that, knowing that they were very likely public school educators. In fact, I talked to a few of them and they were public school educators and they were just offended to the bones about this movie. But guys, I'm going to tell you something that you don't normally hear from filmmakers. We showed the film a few times to like 12 people.
Oh yeah.
We were in Illinois one night in this cool historic theater.
It was so cool.
It was maybe the best location we showed the movie in.
Yeah.
The picture was beautiful. The sound was beautiful.
And it was the first movie that they had shown in that theater since before COVID.
Right.
Which
COVID
was
had
really
shut
cool.
them down.
COVID shut them down and
We
they had
got
not
to
had a movie
reopen.
there. Yeah.
We were there to present and speak and show the movie. And I think total, including us and the organizers, there were 12 people there.
Yeah, I think so.
It
was a really small town. I mean, like they call this town Mayberry. I don't even know if there was an actual like traffic signal. I think it might have just been a stop sign town. It was a really small town.
I do think though that doesn't override the fact that the movie just didn't draw anybody. We couldn't do it. Yeah. And the funny thing was we heard in this town, because we stayed and talked with people because that's what we love to do. But we heard in this town, the public school and public school sports are central to the community.
Yep.
That is what this community is about. And so we were really rubbing against the grain by being there. But, just so you know, we're human and we have emotions and feelings. And we sat there through this movie and enjoyed meeting people and had a really good time. And at the same time, we're like, Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There are 12 people in this room.
Right.
That was really hard. But that wasn't every showing. And we got to show it all across the east, side of the United States over several weeks. And it was great. And our van broke down before the trip.
Yeah. That was an expensive trip.
Oh my gosh.
That was crazy.
It was. But yeah, it was good to see God work. And one of, I think your highlight and my highlight is just being at conferences, being at showings, being wherever and getting to meet people. Especially people who have watched the movie or who listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
But really, we met so many new people like at FPEA convention in Florida.
Yeah.
We just stood in our booth and talked to people for hours and hours and hours. And one of the things that struck me was at FPEA this year, it was probably 2/3 or more brand new homeschoolers.
Yeah.
COVID homeschoolers. and they had no idea what they were doing. And
Right.
so we just had the pleasure of standing there and talking to them, encouraging their hearts,
Yep.
pointing them towards good resources, which is what we love to do on the
Yeah.
show as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My favorite showing that we did was in California, though. And I don't know that we've
Oh,
talked
and
about
I
this.
wasn't there.
You were not there. The girls and I went back home to California, which is no longer home, but was home for my whole life and their whole life until we left. And we got to show it at our good friends, the Schraders, at their church. And that's where most of our friends go to church. And so it was really fun because those were our people. Like, we knew almost everyone who was there. And we had such a blast getting to just hang out with our friends.
And there were
who
cast members there.
Yep. We had cast members there, and that was a lot of fun. That was my favorite showing that we've done so far.
Yeah.
Besides the premiere too, the premiere in
Oh,
November,
man.
that was awesome. We sold out the theater, and that was really exciting. But
That
as
was
far as
great.
just taking it on the road, California was such a blessing.
And that was bringing the film full cycle. That was where we started.
Right.
Our first
Yeah.
set of interviews was in California, and then we left. And if you've seen the movie, you see our family pull out of the state in our truck and RV.
Mhm.
And that's us leaving California,
Yeah.
leaving our home where we had been our whole lives.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that was not staged. That
yeah.
was real.
Yeah.
That was literally the day we left
Everything
California.
we owned basically was in our truck and trailer at that time.
Yeah.
And we had a few boxes at her mom's house, but that was it. And so being able for you to
Mhm.
show the movie back at that church with so many of our friends and people
Yeah.
who had, given to support the movie, opened their homes up
Yep.
to allow us to
Prayed
film,
for us.
prayed for us, taken part in interviews. Yeah, that was a huge blessing.
Yeah.
And what's been great too is since we left California, we've still been able to minister with some of those people
Mhm.
and keep a great relationship with them. Caleb, who pastors that church, guys, if you're in Southern California, Faith Community Church in Palmdale is a
Yeah.
great church. It's pastored by Caleb Schrader, and Caleb's in the movie
Yep.
and does a great job.
And he's been on the podcast.
And he's been on the
Yes.
podcast a couple times, and now he's speaking at homeschool conventions, and he's really, really
Yeah,
good.
he's awesome.
So I will brag on us a tiny bit right now and say we recommended Caleb to the Idaho State
Right, yeah.
Convention, and Caleb spoke, I think, six
I think
times
6
there
times. Yeah.
and brought the house down.
Yep.
And that's no credit to us other
Yeah.
than, hey, you should have him. But he is just such an encouraging speaker, and we're blessed by him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what a blessing. I am sad I didn't go